Okay. Don't put that in. This phone feels so small in my giant hands. Do not put that in. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexis Blake. I am a trans woman and I share my life stories and opinions on social media. So today's video, we are going to be talking about something that I've kind of tiny bit spoke about before, but I'm going to tread very lightly because this particular element of being trans doesn't really affect me or hasn't affected me. I'm not speaking from experience on this one. So I want to be really careful because I don't want to upset anyone, but I still want to give my opinion. I've seen quite a few stories before. Wait, what? Focus. I've read and I've watched videos of different people talking about how transitioning can change their sexuality, and I find this so fascinating. So today I want to look at some statistics. How many people does this happen to? Out of with trans people, I mean. I also want to look at some real life examples of actual trans people living their life who have transitioned, and with that their what? Because I can't draw from personal experience here. So we're going to look at a few people talking about their transition and how their sexuality changed during transition. Right out the gate, let's just say here, obviously, as a lot of you might know, I'm engaged to Liam. Lovely Liam, who edits these videos. Hi, baby. Make a little cameo. Say hi to everyone because you've not been on the channel in a while. Say hi.
Hey, everybody.
And we met before transition, and I have only ever exclusively dated men. So before I transitioned, I identified the box I would tick would have been gay male. And now it's a trans woman and I like men. That's not shifted. I haven't developed an attraction to women. I love women and I think women are beautiful and I can appreciate women, but it's just not there for me in that way. So that's me. Let's look at some statistics first because it's higher. Well, do you know what? I'm not going to give anything away. Fun game. Well, I think it's fun. Comment below now what percent you think of trans people's sexuality changes with transition. We know that trans people are 1% of the entire population, but out of all trans people, what percent do you think have a sexuality shift or change during transition? I think the results are going to surprise you because it surprised me. That's why I wanted to film a video on it. So this data, oh, boohoo, stop teasing me with discount. So this is a study from National Library of Medicine, the National Centre for Biotechnology Information. Sexual orientation is usually considered to be determined in early life and stable in the course of adulthood. So for me, for instance, I think I was 12 or 11. I was quite young when I realised I liked boys, but obviously me coming out in that time, I was a boy, so that meant I was coming out as gay. But I was quite young just to go on with that. Anyway, sorry. In contrast, some transgender individuals report a change in sexual orientation. A common reason for this phenomenon is unknown. Female phenomenon. So that's RuPaul. Anyway. Okay, methods. They included 115 transsexual persons, 70 male to female and 45 female to male. Patients from our endocrine outpatient clinic. So endocrine would be hormones. So these are people who have taken hormones by the sounds of that, or are going to take hormones. So endocrinology, I have an endocrinologist. He's the one that prescribes me my hormones. Anyway, just in case you didn't know, I think a lot of people might have known that. These people completed the questionnaire. So the questionnaire focused on sexual orientation and recalled time points of changes in sexual orientation in the context of transition. I want the numbers, come on. Participants were further asked to provide a personal concept for a potential change in sexual orientation. So the results, out of the male to female population, so trans women like myself, 33% almost reported a change in sexual orientation. 33%. So that means if you had 100 trans women, this is obviously only based off this study, if you had 100 trans women in front of you, 33 of those trans women could say that their sexuality changed during transition. It's wild. I find that wild. Is it just me? Anyway, the next one, 22% of female to male, so the opposite of me. So women who transition to men, 22% of those report the change in sexual orientation. It's wild. Out of the female to male population in the study, so women who transition obviously to men, most of them, what I'm gathering from the rest of this, were women who transitioned to men who were lesbians to begin with. Oh no, that's going to get really confusing. I'm not going to go into it more because I've just tried to explain more and I got myself tongue-tied and confused. Like female to male, male to female, liking men, liking women. It was very confusing. But I found that really interesting. So let's watch some people. The first one, I'm really hot, sorry. The first one that comes to mind to me is Gigi Gorgeous. I don't know if you've seen Gigi. She is a famous, like one of the first, in my opinion, in my eyes, the first famous trans content creators. Sorry, it's a hot day in the UK when I'm filming and I can feel myself going shiny.
Like I said at the beginning of this video, I never thought that I would be making this video because I always thought that I would be with a man. But after everything I've gone through, the 2 other coming out videos that I've made, one in high school as a gay man and one as a transgender female, I thought I was done. I thought that, you know, that was it. I really did. It's been killing me inside every single day, and I'm so happy I'm finally sitting down and talking to you guys and letting you guys know that from this point forward, I am a lesbian. And I want to let anyone out there questioning their sexuality or what's normal or how they should feel or should act, that it's okay to feel this way. I said, why am I feeling this way towards a girl? What's going on? You know, I've lived this long, and I thought that I knew who I was attracted to, but then someone may come along in your life that you're like, oh my God, ding, this is the person. And that's okay, accept that. And I haven't been shy about showing her on my YouTube channel because I'm not embarrassed. I feel extremely proud of the person that I have fallen in love with, and I feel so lucky. You know, I've been in several relationships with men. I've experienced a relationship, you know, companionship, all of that stuff with men, but I've never experienced this feeling until I met this girl, and that's how I know that I'm a lesbian.
My first initial thoughts on this, I'm not a scientist, I'm not claiming anything I think to be true, it's just my opinion on this whole thing. I think it must be something to do with how we see ourselves can then allow us to figure out who we are truly attracted to, maybe. As a strong example, I think we've seen a lot of, say, straight married men live their life and do what society sort of told them they should be doing, marry women, have kids, work, settle down, the very societal norms. They then come out as transgender, and then sometimes they can turn out that they actually are attracted to men and not women. But then you have some couples that are male-female, and the man comes out as trans, but then they stay together. Me and Liam, like, it's so complex and so interesting to me. I can't say exactly what it is, but it must be something to do with how, when we start to look at ourselves different, the brain allows us to be attracted to who we're truly attracted to. I don't know. I do know that Gigi did marry this person that she's speaking about. They're no longer together. They were together for a really long time though, if you don't know Gigi. She's fabulous on all social medias. I love her. She's one of the first sort of trans content creators I saw. Let's look at some more stories that I might agree or disagree with, because I'm not going to be very agreeable in this video. I think there is a couple of things that sort of caught my eye that I'm not fully aligning with. Anyway, let's watch another video.
But probably not in the way you think. You see, I could never see myself as a man with another man. But as a woman with a man, I didn't mind that so much. Later on, I realized because in a male-male relationship, they'd be focusing on parts of my body that I didn't like myself and felt dysphoric about without knowing it. After transitioning and finally feeling comfortable in my body, it felt much more natural to be with men. Women, however, were always hot and still are hot. So I guess it can change your sexuality by changing your perspective.
This individual, when she was a male, living as a male, she was straight, attracted to women, then she's transitioned and now she's bi. It's so fascinating to me. And she said at the end it's about changing your perspective. That's one thing I'm struggling to understand myself. And again, we always have open, honest conversations here. Of course, comment your thoughts below as long as we can keep it as nice and positive as possible. She's mentioned there about like particular parts of the body that you're dysphoric about, and then that I'm struggling to understand how that can make your sexuality change. Because obviously being intimate with someone is a very personal thing. Again, I don't know. It's because it's coming from a place of sort of, I don't want to say I'm stupid, but obviously I have a lack of knowledge here because I can't share my lived experience for it. I always find it really fascinating. We have another content creator who did a story with Pink News, and I don't actually fully agree with some of the things this person's saying. So we're going to watch it and then I'm going to explain why after.
I was a lesbian woman and now I'm a gay man.
TikToker and musician Rory opened up about how his gender transition affected his sexuality, sparking an interesting conversation around sexual fluidity.
I came out as a lesbian, and then I came out as non-binary, and then I came out as trans. I identified as a lesbian for a very long time, and I was like, solid in that identity as well. There was no like fluidity there. There was no interest in men.
Our et al.'s 2014 study of 115 trans people found that about 28% of them experienced a change in their sexual orientation, which happened independently of gender-affirming care, like starting hormones or getting surgery. The researchers theorized that this may be due to factors like social or self-acceptance, their understanding of their sexuality, and their relationship with their bodies.
I do know a lot of trans men that like men after transitioning, and they didn't before. Like, it's just like a common pipeline that happens. And I think maybe there was a hatred towards men because I wanted to like be them, but I didn't know that for so long.
Rory believes his change in sexuality might be tied to how the experience of being queer can go beyond gender boundaries.
Being queer to me might have just been like being in like a queer relationship. Like, as I identified as a girl, I just wouldn't have been in a straight relationship. So now like I've transitioned, I can date men and it's still in a queer relationship. And I don't find myself attracted to girls anymore. And I don't know if that's because then I would be in a straight relationship. Like, I'm almost like, I'm too queer for that.
That's what I don't agree with there. I mean, he seems lovely, and I'm not saying I disagree with everything that he's saying. It's his lived experience. I cannot take that away from him. With what Rory said, where I'm struggling to understand is, that's almost sounding to me like picking and choosing the way you identify just because it's queer. And that's why I'm a bit like, why? When Rory was female and he was a lesbian, so because that was queer, and then obviously non-binary is still with girls because it's still queer, but now that he's transitioned into a trans man, he's now saying that he's dating men because he's still queer. And they said when he was a girl, he would never have dated a boy because that's not queer. And that's what didn't sit right with me there. 'Cause I struggle to understand how your sexuality can be determined if it's queer or not, depending on the person. Like, you are what you are. Like, you're born that way. Do you know? I don't know, that's the way that I see it. So I disagreed a little bit there. I think Rory from the rest of the video is dating a trans man. So obviously that's someone who was born female, transitioned to men. So I don't know. It's super complex. It's super messy, but it's super interesting to me. I think his story is really interesting and beautiful. I struggle there with how, like, you wouldn't just change to a lesbian just for the sake of it. Like, I don't think anyone would do that. So it's just the way, maybe it's just the way that I phrased it. Maybe I misunderstood. I don't know. What are your thoughts on what we spoke about today? Please comment below. As always, I read as many comments as possible. I love hearing what you guys think. If we can keep the conversation as positive as possible, or if anyone's got any experience. One other thing, wait, Alexis, calm down. Something I want to ask. So comment below what you thought on the video, or if it directly affects you. I would love to hear like any personal stories, like about your partner or you being trans and your sexuality changing. But one thing that I would love to know, how many people who watch me are actually trans. Like, I love making content. I feel very lucky to have the platforms that I have to be able to share my thoughts and opinions. So it's amazing. So thank you so much. But what my question is there a lot of trans people that actually watch me? Or is it men and women that watch me? Or is it mainly women? Or is it mainly, I don't know. Like, I see the numbers, like the statistics. I can look at the analytics on all different platforms, which varies from different platforms. But obviously it says men or women. It doesn't say trans men, trans women, men and women and non-binary people. It's not broken up like that. So I'd be really interested to know, like, what type of people watch me? Are you trans? Are you non-binary? Are you gay? Are you straight? Are you lesbian? I don't know. I would just be really interested to know. So if you can comment that below, that'd be fab. I just find that really fascinating. Anyway, we are at the end of today's video. Thank you so much for coming along the ride with me. If you did enjoy this kind of content, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I post 1 to 2 videos every single week. I think we're done. I'm sweating, so if I have a little bit of sweat, I apologise. It's very warm today. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!